Good afternoon. Jason Phillips from Auto Appraise, inspecting a 1992 VW Westphalia surf wagon. Unit was reportedly brought up from New Mexico. Set up with some cool trinkets on the inside. Has a reasonably good looking older driver quality repaint. We'll get going through it here shortly. All the doors are operating. The information sheet here would suggest the engine's been updated to a 1600cc 1.8 liter. I thought these vans originally came with a 1.6, the T3s, and then they hopped up to a 1.9 after that. So I wasn't even aware that there was a 1.8. This one appears to be a liquid cooled unit, not an air cooled unit, so definitely it's been upgraded, and more to say about that. So overall, the exterior body, I guess we'll start there. It presents nicely from a distance here. If we get up close, there's evidence of somebody's old decal, about a 10 or 11 inch radius right in there. I don't know how easy that shows on the video. There's over 200 or 300 photos of the car, of the van rather, for the intended purchaser who's looking at this long distance. If you are watching the video and you're not someone who's hired me, then this video has already aged out a bit. The video is made solely for the purpose of the potential buyer to look at this vehicle first, decide if he or she wants it. If they do, they do their thing, buy it or pass, at which point the video becomes a public video on my YouTube channel, so you can kind of see what I do. What our whole company does, actually, autoappraise.com. If you need help, 800-301-3886. Okay, enough of the commercials. Quick look around the vehicle. Advertised with newer leather seats. I believe this is actually a Naga hide, a pleather, more of a vinyl of sorts. So just a matter of semantics, I guess. Door jambs are in good shape. I found some extra rubber seals in the back compartment, brand new in a bag. And I'm guessing that some of the seals on this unit, well, I don't guess, I know some of them have been changed and some of them still need it. So that's where we're at with that. Needs a few rubber seals put in, but the general entry area looks nice from both the passenger and driver side. Aftermarket Plano and Pelican boxes are affixed. Heater slides work freely. Voltage meter is reading about 11.1 or so, reading a little lower than the 12.5 to 14.5 reading, so it might not be putting out enough juice at the alternator, but I've started it 3 times now, and every time it seems to start just fine. So it could be a gauge failure. The doors are very solid. The jambs are very solid. Corners of the doors are good looking. Front seals have been changed already. Seat belts appear to have been changed. Everything painted a kind of a satin black / almost flat black. Shifter seems to operate without issue. Steering seems pretty good. I'll show you the front suspension in a minute, but it has been mostly rebuilt. The slider door works nicely, and the rear door operates as well without issue. Some neatly fabricated cabinets and tops. This folds down nice as expected, and this is what one of the things the owner wanted me to verify. I tried like heck to get this top up. It is very, very heavy. You can see there's new hardware here. I had one of the guys try to assist me, and we pushed, but I'm not sure if there's a crank somewhere we're missing. Neither one of us found it. So this wood has been repainted in black. Interior components all repainted in black. Sideboards like a Luan or typical plywood painted in black. Drawers all operate. That sliding cabinet opens and closes. Aftermarket plugs installed here and here. Sliding glass windows operate. Photos of those all opened and closed. So new nylon canvassing front and rear, and these unpin, and this unit, it goes up. So I think it just weighs a busload because of all the weight on top of the van, and maybe takes 3 men and a baby to get it up. I found a couple switches that both illumine on the inside of the truck. I don't know what they illumine, but there's power going to them, and it may be to these front overhead lights and the fog lights. The headlights work, the turn signals work, the tail lights work. We know all of that. So let's get around this body. Actually, let me go back in and finish up on the interior. Those pop up quickly. This glass does tilt out. Might be able to maneuver that to get it to tighten up a little bit here in the gap. But it does open and close. And again, more of the same report. The woodwork looks nice, you know, kind of a basic knotty pine, I guess. Cushion redone. All right, we'll get into the engine bay here in a second. Everything's looking pretty solid back here. Got some cosmetic surface rust and some pitting on the exhaust system. So it sounds pretty decent, sounds like a VW should. Carburetor appears to have been worked on not so long ago. Engine block paint is thin. Looks like that belt may have been changed. Oil dipstick pulled in the photograph. That looks pretty clean. Couldn't get a date off the battery, but it starts up pretty easily. Inner structure is nice and solid. These rear frame rails coming back upside down, you know, from underneath and in here look very good. So we'll show that a little more from underneath. Antifreeze tank is pink and full of coolant. Still photos will depict the various paint flaws and digital paint meter readings. I'll do a few here on this video, and then the owner will be encouraged to look at the still photos up close, taken of everything that I could spot during the inspection. So back here on the back, there is here it's not so obvious, 3 small rivet holes filled, and here there's a little bit of shrinkage around this head, that head, and that head. There's a small area of rust in this mounting bolt area. You can see a few scuffs and scrapes on the license plate frame area outside of where the license plate would mount. There's a 3-inch, 2-inch, 3-inch scratch right here that I can feel with the edge of my nail that will not wheel out. There's various marks around the vehicle similar to those. The bumper has some rough surface that was painted over. Looks pretty decent from 10 to 15 feet away. That's presentable. Been touched up, and there's some scratches still existing on the back corner. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. Getting back here on readings though, readings were anywhere from 9 to 15 mils around the vehicle, 9 to 12, and 32. So some repair work done in various areas, but nothing over 40 or 50. Maybe one 30, there's 39 right there, so maybe one high 30s, 40s reading here and there, but 22. Small little dent right in here. Little scuff down to the primer right there. Another one here. There's some water streaks that I wiped off. These will clean up. I think I'll clean this one too. So could stand to be polished up nicely. Plugs, these units flip open and those work. A little line here in the paint. Otherwise this quarter panel's in pretty good shape. 12, bottom of the door, 16, rocker 6. There's a ping right here. Another watermark. There's a little bit of swelling right here in a couple spots on the paint. Some chips that kind of have been touched up. Rubber seal is deteriorating just a bit here and shrinking. Window frames are all original with some patina present. They were painted around and they weren't pulled out. So, and again, the windows slide open and closed. So as far as general paint wear goes, the paint job's probably somewhere between 20 and 30 years old. There's that center spot on the door that is an old decal that was circular. If you put a 12-inch decal on there yourself that's round, you'll cover it. What are you going to name your bus? There's a mark right here. Might come off with the wheel. I don't know. It looks like it was touched up. This windshield seal is cracked. Around there, could stand to be replaced. Windshield's in really good shape. Got original VW markings. Just a few small sand pecks, not even giant chips. But one here, one there. Nothing horrible. I don't think I'd change it. Front bumper's got a little bit of a warp to it right here, just that area. Might be able to put a clip on the back of there and pull it down, shore it up. Some general paint chipping on the grill bezel. So I don't want to kick the puppy too hard because, you know, from here I'm probably 12 or 13, 14 feet away. It's got a nice presence. It's got a nice look, and I think if it was washed up and cleaned up, it'd look even better. But again, as we get up close, there's just some general paint marring and scarring. Something was mounted to the rain gutter here a long time ago. Holes are still drilled, oxidizing a bit. So if you're buying it to put in car shows, maybe not. But local cruises and just take the thing out camping and having fun, probably more of a target for that type of behavior. So scratch. That was not one. We got some contact buzz going on right here with that hinge point knocking into the side a little bit and chipping the paint there. So again, I'll turn my meter back on, but the readings have been pretty consistent around the truck. 9, and there's my reflection. There is the meter at about 6 to 8 inches, 12 inches maybe, 8, 7, bottom of the door 7, bottom of the door 11, bottom of the dog leg 11, rocker panel 6, 5, so really good readings. Bottom of the door corner 13, front of the door 23, 26. Every 4 mils is the thickness of a dollar bill, so 4 times 6 is 24. About $6 bills of thickness on some of the front end. Scratch in the bezel. So our exterior paint and body, good looking driver quality, that's what I will stick to. Wheels and tires before we get underneath. These tires are date coded from the last week in February or first week in March of 2018, and they've got really good tread on them, no dry cracking. Nibs are still present on the sidewalls. In the rear, it's a torsion bar suspension. There's a little bit of negative camber when it comes to the tire leaning tilting in at the top a little bit. Pretty common for these converted VW buses. I've seen this many times for that little bit of a tilt on the tire inbound. I don't know if that torsion bar suspension is an adjustable component or exactly what they do to remedy that small little ding right here that I didn't point out a few minutes ago. And there was a couple little door dings along this side that I did point out. I did point out at this one. And then there's an Audi. It wasn't a door ding, but it was an Audi right here. Okay. So that's body, that's paint, that's wheels and tires. 14-inch steel wheels. They're showing a little bit of paint peel here and there. Generally speaking, they look pretty good. Somebody just shot right over them with a satin or a darker black. This one's the one that's peeled probably the most of all of them. So not too bad. Could be touched up. Windows roll up and down. This one just fine. The passenger window, you'll see a couple roller scratches, and I didn't want to go any further than this because I hear a little digging in. There's 2 roller marks here. There's a worn guide pad in here, and you can kind of hear it creaking. So the window needs a little bit of love with one hand while you crank it with the other to get working. All right, I'm gonna hop underneath. All right, starting with the passenger front corner, the inner structure, really nice. If I didn't believe it was from New Mexico or Mexico, I do now. That looks great. This rail structure and front support looks really nice. Just a little bit of surface rust here and there. Nothing to be alarmed by. You'll see that there's a small drip of antifreeze right up here, actually green, and here as well, So the coolant in this might be mixed both pink and green, which is okay these days. Didn't used to be. This front rail structure looks nice as well. And this inner, sorry you're probably looking at this upside down now, but again, this whole inner apron area is not rusted out through mud splash and deterioration, which is really nice. You can't get that on a Michigan rig. There's a ground wire, I believe it's a ground wire that is broke off. Where's my finger? There we go. Right up here at the base of the steering unit. That wire's come apart. I don't know what it does. It looks like a ground wire though. So it probably needs to be reconnected. I didn't get the horn to toot, but I tried. So there is some grease buildup above the seal here on the pitman arm, I guess I'm going to call that, on the VW. Parking brake, by the way, works. Front discs look like they're in pretty good shape. No real major heavy grooves. Those lower ball joint boots and upper ball joint boots have yellow markings on them, and I think they've been changed not too long ago. Tie rod ends and sleeves look like they're in pretty good shape as well. And this torsion bar axle in front looks like it's in pretty good shape. No major physical damage seen. The whole underbody has this type of an appearance. It's just in good shape. Old pinch clamps, those are probably OEM stock original clamps. And this hose here is doubled up with some extra clamping and a piece spliced in, and that's where you see a drop of antifreeze there as well. So don't know, but I would suspect that we need to work on the radiator hoses on this and probably remedy that situation. Here's a shot of the underbody from the center. I'll move back and show it more up close. Cooling lines look like they're in good shape that go all the way back to the motor. And those hoses appear there in the center to be in pretty good shape, again, with the old style clamps. Wheel tub splashes, nothing remarkable in any bad sense. They're real solid. I'm under the sliding door, and the structure of the rails, again, looks really nice around here. Pinch weld along the rocker panel is real nice. It's not splayed open. No mud, salt deterioration up in here on either side. So good structure. Good crackers. Floor tub, the floor pan is nice. And again, stock torsion bar setup. Nothing remarkable. Half shafts have likely been serviced. There's a tear in that boot on the passenger side. I did not see a tear on the other side. A little bit of grease buildup on the bottom of the transaxle, and a little bit of dampness on the bottom of the pan, oil pan, but on the ground there's not really anything to talk about. So nothing massive. The shock absorbers are older, front and rear. Some wiring has been changed, and this tube, I don't know where it used to go. It used to go forward, and along the rocker here, here's a step-up slip-on clamp mount, if you can see it. And I'm not sure what this goes to. It's not hooked up to anything currently, so old school. All right, good tires, good understructure. Again, the rear frame rails look just like the front, and nothing really to remark about in the wheel openings and whatnot. There's a shot of the wheel splash area on this side, which emulates the other wheel openings. So good and dry. And it could stand to be cleaned. I didn't wipe it off because it needs to be washed really, but pretty decent reflection at an 18 to 24 inch area, distance rather. My travel companion, as always. Say hello, Luna. All right, so to recap, we've covered paint and body, we've covered wheels and tires, we've covered glass, we've covered the interior, engine in bay, bumpers. Not much to speak of on the trim. Some has been repainted. Not much has been replaced. Original window frames showing some patina. The lenses look like they're in good shape. Maybe those were changed in the back because they seem pretty nice. Got a locking gas cap, so find out if we have a key. Interior is very presentable. Fun little camping rig. Key forward, we hear the fuel pump kick on. See a illuminating brake light. Sounds like a VW, doesn't it? 70,132. I noticed on the write-up that it's had probably 80 less miles. So somebody's driven it a little. Both of these switches illumine, this one blue. And there goes my voltage gauge. Oh, up to 12.5. That's cool. That's better. And this one illumines and it drops us down to 11.8, so I must be turning something on. That's why that was on earlier, which is why I was getting an 11.1 or 11.8. Yeah, drops a little when I turn the fan on. All these heater slides work freely. Light switch works. Alright, parking brake seems to work. I'll turn this off till I get out of the parking lot. Turn signals are flashing. Okay, I'm at the end of the parking lot. This is a consignment vehicle here to dealership, and so we're not allowed out on the main roads with this, but I'll put it through the gears. If I didn't know any better, I'd swear there's some wind chimes hanging in the back. I can hear them dinging and tinging. Take a look at that before we shut off the video for final. First gear, second gear feels good. Speedometer is operating. We are not doing 50 miles an hour, so that speedometer is not reporting accurately. Tachometer's working, and we are probably turning three grand. There's third gear. Pedals engaging about 2/3 of the way off the floor. where those wind chimes are hanging, but that certainly sounds like what it is. Gas gauge appears to be working. First to second. I don't want to kill any lawnmower guys up here. Second to third. Let that guy go. Yeah, clutch is engaging actually closer to the floor than I just reported. Not positive if the turn signals are canceling on their own. We'll have to check that one more time when we get back. There's third. There's fourth. Hands off the wheel, tracking nice and straight. Okay, turn signals are not canceling. Seems to roll down the road pretty nice. Okay, quick pause here. One of the rear drawers, or maybe the sliding door, that's kind of making some noise as I hit a hole or various road road noise from uneven spots in the road. The trip odometer does appear to be turning. More to report shortly. Maybe not. Hard to say. We're at 695.8. Make one more little short trip down to the corner here and see if we can put another 2/10 on it. Alright, just went another half a mile here. Not quite half a mile, but odometer is not turning, so we're going to say 07132 is probably not actual mileage. The steer's good. Alright, I'm going to shut this off and repark. So I let it sit and park for just a few minutes here and let it idle. No obvious smoke or unusual noises coming from the back. Engine temp at 180, 180-ish. That's at the coolant hoses there, 142. I don't hear any wind chimes back here, so I'm going to guess there's some wind chimes in a cabinet that I missed. So the horn is in op. The speedo is inaccurate. The odometer is in op. It's a good looking rig. I'm not sure how the roof works, but I have a feeling it does, but you're going to need a couple sets of hands to help that out. Brakes seem to apply okay. Transmission seems to be okay. Just some general paint wear and nothing too remarkable to talk about. Good looking little rig, actually. Kind of like it. Something was mounted up here a long time ago, and these are matching corresponding marks on the other side as well. Maybe rivets that were ground off or something. So I tried those earlier. Both speeds are operating. That's what we have. Engine temperature runs good, brakes good, steers good. Park and brake works. 1992 surf wagon Type 3 bus. I think they quit making these in 2003. Pretty cool looking rig. Thanks for hanging out. Jason from Auto Appraise, autoappraise.com, 800-301-3886 if you need a pre-purchase inspection. I cover a lot of territory myself and have other remote guys that cover other territories. Feel free to give us a call. Thanks again.